Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about breeding and keeping crayfish and everything else you need to know if you're a beginner crayfish keeper or if you just want to learn some more tips. This is the 2023 updated edition, but if you're past 2023, you can still definitely watch this. It will still definitely apply. Let's get into it. First, we got to start with the basics. Getting a tank. So crayfish aren't super picky about your tank, but there is a very special rule that I like to use when it comes to crayfish tanks. It should be at least 10 gallons. Now, I'm not perfect, and my tank is pretty tiny, so for a crayfish, it really isn't ideal. But if your crayfish is small, something smaller should be good, but I would never keep a crayfish in something like a fish bowl, because that can be too small, but around 10 gallons or 37 liters is ideal. Okay, part 2. Feeding. So crayfish aren't actually very picky about feeding either, and the funny thing about crayfish is they eat basically anything. They eat each other, they eat fish, they eat plants, they really do not care. But if you want to get your crayfish growing big and healthy, I would just generally feed them these things: carrots, vegetables, peas, grapes, that sort of stuff, fruit, that's really good for them, the occasional live feed, pellets that you buy for the store, even like other fish. These things do not care. Just try to avoid getting plants, because crayfish do actually eat like aquatic plants, which can be quite expensive, but still, if you really want your crayfish to eat and plant, you can buy one. They really aren't picky. So yeah, if you have anything left over, crayfish are more than willing to eat it. Just there are certain things that can change, like the water quality and stuff, that I wouldn't feed, but most things are normally good with crayfish. Okay, this is the hard bit. Breeding crayfish. Now, I'm not really an expert on this. In fact, normally I don't like keeping crayfish together because they normally just fight and kill each other. But if you're willing to breed them, here's how. So number one, you're gonna need 2 crayfish. So obviously you can just go to the pet store and buy some crayfish, or you can catch some, though do be careful because there are lots of invasive crayfish which you can get like in trouble for keeping. But if you go to the pet store and buy some crayfish, you can actually check if they're male or female. Now, I'm not sure if all pet stores in like other countries or even Australia like do this, but sometimes they'll tell you which ones are female and male, which can be really handy. But if you want to know yourself, here's a chart. So yeah, if you see that chart, you can see the male and female aren't completely the same. I'm, like I said, not an expert on this, but if you can just find enough differences, you could be able to identify them and then buy one of each. So then after that, you're going to need a big tank. Now, I mean like a pretty big tank, bigger than 10 gallons, definitely. Because if you don't do this right, the crayfish will get like territorial, because they're very territorial, and they can actually end up killing each other, which is not what you want. You want a big tank, definitely more than 10 gallons. And then, the first thing that you want to do is place the female in the tank. You have to make sure that they're ready for mating, which is a whole other process. But if you think that they are, you have to put the female in, and then you have to like really quickly put the male in. But the other way is to put both of the crayfish in the big tank and then just let them do their stuff. Like, this can take a few months, and this normally happens in really big tanks. So there's the 2 techniques. You can put them in a medium sized, or if you really want to, a small tank, and put the female in really quickly, and then the male, let them mate, and then take them out. And then there's the other technique. So both of these techniques should work, and if they do, after a few weeks, the female should have a like clutch of eggs on her tail, which kind of look like tadpole eggs, like a long string of little black things. And then eventually those will hatch and become baby crayfish. Now, you might want to take out the parent crayfish because they aren't normally very friendly with their babies, and the babies will just go everywhere. So if you do get this like situation, make sure you put some kind of barrier so that like the crayfish don't get sucked up by the filter. So after that, you should just start feeding them some like baby brine shrimp, that sort of stuff, and then they'll grow to become big crayfish. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple, and crayfish aren't very picky. So if you're planning on getting a crayfish, make sure to watch some of my other videos, because obviously there are things that I missed. I can't fit everything into one 5-minute video. And other than that, if you have any questions, just put it in the comments. And if you're subscribed and you put your name in the comments and say like I subscribed or whatnot, you might get a shout out. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Crustaceans Australia family. Thanks for watching and please subscribe. Also, thanks for getting me to 500 subs. Let's aim for 1,000.